A single cell, drifting on its own in a drop of water, has life pretty easy. It absorbs whatever it needs directly from its environment. But the human body is a dense, tightly packed cluster of roughly 37 trillion cells. Curious, this density presents a structural problem. The cells trapped deep inside your core have no access to the outside world. Without a way to get oxygen in and waste out, those central cells would suffocate and starve in a matter of minutes. To survive, the body built a delivery service, a pressurized river of liquid, capable of forcing vital resources to the absolute deepest corners of your biology. That river flows through a living pipeline, branching out to reach every microscopic neighborhood inside you. This diagram shows the scale of that network. If you took every artery, vein, and capillary in your body and laid them end to end, the line would stretch for 60,000 miles, long enough to wrap around the Earth twice. The liquid inside never rests. It moves at speeds that allow it to navigate this entire maze, servicing your whole body in under 60 seconds. Driving this current is a central engine sitting just to the left of your chest, the human heart, a muscle the size of your fist, firing on a synchronized, continuous loop. Inside, it's divided into 4 rooms. 2 chambers on the top, the atria, receive incoming fluid before plunging it down into 2 lower pumping chambers called ventricles. A thick wall called the septum runs right down the middle, keeping the 2 sides strictly separated. Connecting these rooms are 4 one-way doors. When the heart flexes, these valves snap shut to block fluid from slipping backward. That mechanical snapping is the lub-dub sound you hear through a stethoscope. The liquid exiting this pump doesn't take one giant circle around your body. It travels in a figure 8, split into 2 specialized loops. First, the right side of the heart executes a short loop, pushing oxygen-depleted blood over to the lungs to grab fresh air. Once recharged, it drops back into the left side of the heart, which blasts that oxygen-rich payload out to your furthest extremities. By acting as a fused double pump, the heart solves 2 problems at once. It constantly refuels the supply while distributing it, without pausing its rhythm. The outbound vessels are your arteries. Because they have to absorb the high-pressure shock waves coming straight off the heart, arterial walls are built thick and elastic. If you place a blood sample in a centrifuge and spin it, the liquid fractures into distinct layers. Over half of it is plasma, a yellowish fluid carrying nutrients, hormones, and proteins. Below the plasma sits the primary cargo. Billions of red blood cells pack the fluid, carrying hemoglobin, an iron-rich molecule designed to grip oxygen and ferry it through the dark. Hidden among them is a secondary payload. White blood cells constantly patrol for invading bacteria, while tiny fragments called platelets drift along, ready to swarm and seal up any tears in the pipeline. At 5 liters in total, blood is a highly active, mobile tissue. It operates as a nutrient supply chain, a security force, and an emergency repair crew. As those thick arteries travel further from the heart, they splinter into smaller branches, eventually becoming capillaries. These vessels are narrow enough that the red blood cells are forced to squeeze through them in single file. Here is where the transaction happens. Capillary walls are just 1 cell thick, allowing oxygen to slip out into the surrounding tissue, while carbon dioxide waste is pulled back inside for disposal. The depleted cargo now begins the return trip to the heart. It flows into your veins, thinner, lower-pressure roads that face a physical challenge. They have to pull liquid upward against the force of gravity. To solve this, veins are outfitted with tiny internal locks. As your moving muscles push the fluid upward, these one-way gates snap shut directly underneath the passing liquid, locking it in place so it cannot slide backward toward your feet. From the high-pressure launch, to the microscopic cellular handoff, to the gravity-defying climb back to the start, this entire lap is finished in under 60 seconds. The daily workload of this system is vast. To keep those laps going, your heart beats roughly 100,000 times today, moving over 7,000 liters of fluid before you go to sleep. It does this entirely on its own. It requires no conscious command from your brain, operating while you work, eat, and rest. But that autonomy comes with a structural vulnerability. Over time, physical stress and diet can cause fatty plaques to physically build up along the inner walls of the infrastructure. This graphic compares the 2 environments. On the left, liquid flows through a supple, open pipe. On the right, the channel is narrowed by plaque, forcing the central pump to strike harder to push the same amount of fluid through the shrinking gap. You don't have to tell your heart to beat, but your daily choices dictate exactly how much resistance that engine has to fight against to keep you alive. Take a second to feel the pulse in your wrist, or notice the warmth in your hands. That heat is the friction of the river flowing right now. The central pump driving it began firing weeks before you were born, and it will not stop for a single moment for the rest of your life. These 60,000 miles of living pipe never stop, pulsing beneath your skin to sustain every breath and every thought. This is the inner landscape that quietly carries you through every second of your life.